Well, hey, y'all, and good afternoon from the greatest state in the Union. It is the most beautiful day in the great American Republic. It is Friday, August 5th, 2022. Thank you for joining us on Texas Fully Loaded. Monday through Friday at noon Eastern Time on TECNTV.com. My name is Sandra Whitten. Today, our guest, I believe, originally it was supposed to be Joe Flynn, who's the CEO of the America Project, but I was just informed literally 5 minutes ago that he had an emergency come up, so our prayers to him for whatever it might be, because I really don't know. I believe that we're going to have Patrick Byrne on the show in his place, so stay tuned because we'll find out together. But let's see what else we have going on here. We do have some other late breaking news that came in, so let's start on that. Here's some things that you need to know on this great American Trading Day. All right. At 8:30 a.m., the Labor Department reported the new jobs numbers. The U.S. economy added over 528,000 jobs in July, far beating analysts' expectations and setting the scene for yet another rate increase from the Feds. While Biden and the White House will no doubt celebrate, it isn't a good indicator that the economy is in good shape. This will undoubtedly result in another Fed rate hike as the Fed desperately tries to cool the labor market and stem the tide of inflation. However, this will make interest rates on mortgages, cars, and other consumer goods go further up, adding yet another layer of hardship to an already struggling U.S. economy. To pour even more gas on this dumpster fire of a presidency, the great jobs report will provide ample cover for Senators Manchin and Sema to vote in favor of more reckless spending packages. So let's see what they're going to do with that. All right. Vertex fulfills expectations for a $200 million guidance boost. Vertex Pharmaceuticals, VRTX, fulfilled expectations for a guidance raise late Thursday, leaving VRTX stocks mostly untouched in late action. The company boosted its full-year sales outlook by $200 million. It now expects $8.6 billion to $8.8 billion of sales in its cystic fibrosis, or CF, medicines. That was largely in line with predictions and follows the second quarter beat. It follows the second quarter. RBC Capital Markets analyst Brian Abrams said in a report to clients, as expected, given recent favorable trends on ex-U.S. reimbursements and expansions into younger CF patients, Vertex raised their CF sales guidance, he said. We believe a $200 million raise is about the order of magnitude the street was looking for. And after hours trading on today's stock market, VRTX stock inched up 0.2% near $275.50 per share. Overall, second quarter earnings came in at $3.60 versus expectations of $3.47 minus some items. Adjusted income climbed year over year. Sales jumped 22% to $2.2 billion. That beat the average estimate of analysts polled by FactSet for $2.13 billion. Trikafta, Vertex's biggest moneymaker, generated $1.89 billion in sales, rocketing 51%. Analysts called for a $1.81 billion to a $1.83 billion, Abrams said. This demonstrates the continued solid market position in CF, he said. Though he noted after another cystic fibrosis treatment from Vertex called Orkambi came in below forecasts. It is likely that Orkambi patients are switching to Trikafta. However, Trikafta can treat 90% of patients with lung disease. Abrams kept his sector performance and $269 per share price target on BRTX stock. It's great when you have a company that is working to better the lives of people who suffer from this terrible disease. Definitely a nice change in pace from the vaccine scams we've seen plague the pharmaceutical industry since the onset of COVID-19. Tesla shareholders approve a 3-for-1 stock split. Is now the time to buy? Tesla TSLA shareholders approved plans for a 3-for-1 stock split on August 4th. Shares outstanding will increase to 4 billion to complete the Tesla stock split. The vote was held at the annual shareholder meetup, dubbed the Cyber Roundup, at the Tesla factory in Austin, Texas. The Tesla stock split is seen as a way to increase demand for its shares in July. Tesla reported better than expected Q2 earnings. Shares soared 10% the next day. They have continued to climb ahead of the anticipated Tesla stock split news. On July 8th, Tesla stock climbed above a 50-day moving average for the first time since early May. It's now above its 200-day line, but the stock is still well below prior highs. Tesla stock was up slightly in extended trade after the Tesla stock split vote. Shares currently are not at a proper buy point. On a daily chart, shares are in a long consolidation with a 1,208.10 buy point, according to MarketSmith Charts analyst. A tight trading range at current levels potentially could produce an alternative entry for aggressive traders, but the stock needs more time. A stock split is when the company splits an existing share into multiple new shares. If a company splits 2-for-1, the share price will be cut in half, but the amount of shares outstanding will double. Firms usually do stock splits when a share price is increased substantially. The split brings down the price of the stock, which attracts a wider range of buyers. Investors who previously could not afford the share might now be tempted, but a split does not change the current value of the company in any way. As an investor, the monetary value of your holdings will also be the same amount after the stock split. You just own more shares. If you own fractional shares of a company, the same idea applies. If you own half of a share of a company and there's a 2-for-1 stock split, your holdings would double. So you would own a whole share of that stock. What if you own a stock that pays dividends? Usually dividends after a stock split also will be reduced proportionally per share to account for the increase in shares outstanding. This leads to a dividend payments unaffected. From 2012 to 2021, stocks in the S&P 500 rose around 12% on average in the year following their stock splits, according to data from the Dow Jones. The same figures showed that the rates of stock splitting in the S&P 500 have ticked up in the last years to their highest levels in nearly a decade. Many investors view stock splits as bullish, but sometimes a fast series of stock splits may be a warning sign to sell. Stocks with higher prices tend to attract investors willing to pay for quality. While that might decrease the potential buying audience, it tends to increase the smart money sponsors that are backing the stock. However, early stock splits often are not a problem. Stocks can often and do move higher after initial splits, particularly when they happen in an early bull market. But problems occur when companies enact multiple big splits, say a 2-for-1 and a 3-for-1, within a 1 to 2 year time period. Those interested in the Tesla stock splits should note that shareholders approved a 5-to-1 split in August 2020. A stock split can be tempting for investors, but it allows them to buy what was previously more expensive stock at a much cheaper price. But investors should never buy a stock just because of a stock split. Make sure you do your research, check the stocks for the right time to buy, and to make sure that you focus on companies with top fundamentals that are leading price performers in their industry group. When looking at Tesla, it's important to remember it is just as much a data company as it is a car manufacturer. Tesla has been mapping the United States with their initial rollout, constantly gathering data everywhere from the Katy Freeway down to dirt country roads. It's not clear how Tesla plans to use this data beyond offering better self-driving software to their existing customers, but what is clear, they're the only entity in the nation with this data. Is it time to buy Tesla? Review the facts and then you decide. Oh, excuse me 1 second here. All right. Paramount gets a lift from Top Gun, but streaming loses a drag. Paramount Global PARA beat Wall Street expectations for quarterly revenue and profit on Thursday, powered by May release of blockbuster Tom Cruise starring Top Gun's Maverick. even as streaming subscribers growth slowed. The sequel to the 1986 action flick Top Gun surged past Disney's Marvel adventure Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness as the highest grossing movie of the year and garnered $1 billion in global box office sales, bringing much needed relief to the film unit struggling since the pandemic outbreak. Still, shares slipped 2.5% on widening losses in the streaming's business. The worldwide media entertainment group closed at $25.31 per share Thursday and was down slightly in an after-hours trading to $25.15 per share. Losses from the direct-to-consumer segment surged $445 million from $143 million as the company, also home to CBS and Pluto TV, have been spending on content and international expansion. We expect the company to step up investment in content and international market expansions, which will drag OIBDA and free cash flow through 2023, JP Morgan analysts said in a note. Paramount's reliance on advertising has also dragged in TV media business as inflation hits markets reined in spending. These are short-term challenges that we've got to work through, Chief Executive Bob Bakish told analysts. The company is also likely to face pressure as bigger streaming rivals Netflix and Walt Disney's Disney Plus dip their foot into advertising. In the second quarter ended in June, Paramount Plus, the company's flagship streaming platform, added 4.9 million subscribers compared to 6.8 million in the preceding quarter. The company removed a total of 3.9 million streaming subscribers related to its Russia exit. Though we don't have any imminent price changes, they will happen in the future, Chief Financial Officer Naveen Chopra said. Paramount earned 64 cents per share on revenue of $7.78 billion, while analysts expected 61-cent profit on revenue of $7.57 billion, according to Refinitiv data. Australians MPs have advised to use two phones amid TikTok security concerns. Australian lawmakers and their staff have been advised to get two phones to keep work and private information separate amid widespread security concerns over TikTok. The Australian Signals Directorate (ASD), an intelligence and cybersecurity agency, has warned members of Parliament in private briefings recently that some social media apps are over-collecting data and constantly demanding access to users' contacts, locations, and other apps on the device, according to Australian Financial Review. While ASD did not give any social media names, a white paper on TikTok investigations published in July by Internet 2.0, an Australian cybersecurity forum, reported that TikTok tracked GPS locations on Android devices at least once an hour and kept asking for contact information until it was granted after users had initially denied access to their contacts. The agency advised MPs to use a separate phone for social media, many of which are used to engage with voters. Most Australian MPs have Facebook and Twitter accounts, and TikTok has also become an important platform in election campaign. Australia's federal elections in May, for example, was dubbed the TikTok election, in which candidates from various parties used the short video platform to appeal to younger voters. TikTok has drawn particular attention in the West because of its parent company ByteDance's ties to Chinese Communist Party, CCP. Trevor Mallard, New Zealand's Speaker of the House of Representatives, warned MPs in July not to use TikTok on Parliament-issued phones or other devices, according to Stuff. The MPs were told that the short video app could pose a security risk where data on your devices could be accessed by ByteDance, the owner of TikTok, and the Chinese government. The UK Parliament closed its TikTok account on August 3rd amid pressure from MPs. The group, which is led by Conservative MP for Walden Nusgani, said that TikTok data is routinely transferred to China. Data security risks associated with the app are considerable, the group wrote. Under the 2017 Intelligence Security Law of the PRC, People's Republic of China, Chinese companies are required to yield data to the PRC upon request and may not reveal that they have done so when asked. No surprise coming out of China. Cool dances, though. Consumer spending won't stop even after U.S. economy sputters. But big shift underway. Consumer spending accounts for more than two-thirds of U.S. economic activity. But the resilience of the American consumer is being put to the test. Inflation has flared to highs not seen in 40 years, spurring a rapid decline in real wages. Borrowing rates have galloped too. Job numbers have held strong so far, but layoff whispers are turning into a chorus. Yet, even as U.S. GDP declined slightly in the first 2 quarters of 2022, inflation-adjusted consumer spending continued to rise, albeit at a sluggish 1% annual rate in Q2. And that's a good sign for the U.S. economy. While the outlook could change if the job market crumbles, consumer stamina suggests the U.S. can avoid a serious downturn. Americans seem to be shifting their spending from goods to services. However, that makes sense, since they spent too much on furniture and electronics during the pandemic when they couldn't travel or dine out. Changes in spending patterns will create winners and losers across different sectors, such as housing, autos, travel, retail, and technology. Home builders, including D.R. Horton, DHI, are cutting guidance as sales tumble on higher interest rates. Walmart, WMT, Best Buy, BBY, and RH have warned on demand for big-ticket discretionary items. Amazon.com, AMZN, is struggling from a shift away from goods to e-commerce, even as AMZN stock rebounds on cloud computing strength. General Motors, GM, Ford, and the automotive industry may be an exception to weakness in discretionary goods due to pent-up demands as supply chain problems ease. Among tech stocks, Apple, AAPL, beat profit views and predicted stronger revenue growth ahead, though that could reflect improved production and demand from China, which is reopening after the recent COVID surge lockdown. Travel and restaurant operations such as Delta Airlines, DAL, Marriott International, MAR, Chipotle Mexican Grill, CMG, and McDonald's, MCD, are faring relatively well. Leisure stocks such as restaurants, car rental companies, hotels, and airlines may see a slowdown from current summer levels, but post-pandemic demand remains ample, says economist Ed Yardin of the Yardin Research. And one of the consequences of the pandemic is that a lot of us avoided the virus, but we all got cabin fever, he said. Still, consumer stocks have struggled in 2022 broadly. That's partly due to the overall bear market. But even companies with resilient consumer demand face higher costs, threatening historically high profit margins. The job market is the big wild card. As long as most remain employed, many sectors may ride out the current weak U.S. economy relatively well as American consumer power through an economic slowdown. Americans are amazing people, Yardin said. When we're happy, we spend money. When we're depressed, we spend even more money if we have it. Don't forget it's back to school time, and a lot of states like Texas are having their tax-free weekend this weekend, so I expect to see sales up in some of these markets. Eli Lilly's is going to start making a COVID-19 antibody drug commercially available. In August, Eli Lilly and Company said on Wednesday it plans to make its COVID-19 antibody drug commercially available to U.S. states as well as hospitals and other healthcare providers from August. The drug okay, we're going to struggle with this one. Bebtelovimab, I'm trying, guys, has received authorization in the United States in February for the treatment of mild to moderate COVID-19 among adults and children. Eli Lilly entertained an agreement in June to supply additional 150,000 doses of the drug to the U.S. government. The U.S. government will exhaust their supply of bebtelovimab as early as the week of August 22, and without congressional appropriations does not have the funds to purchase more, Lilly told Reuters. Lilly would make this drug commercially available through the sole distributor beginning the week of August 15th, the company said. This will be done under the existing emergency use authorization, Lilly stated, adding it is currently does not plan to pursue full approval for that same drug. It's a good thing I didn't go into medicine. Y'all are the greatest. Okay, Funko. Funko tops expectations post record sales for the quarter. People cannot get enough of Funko Pops. The pop culture collectibles company Funko, FNKO, cleared Wall Street expectations with its second quarter report after market close Thursday. It continued the company's streak of revenue growth with record sales for the quarter and first half of the year. FNKO stock traded in a buy range ahead of the report. Funko has posted steady revenue and earnings growth since December 2020. During the second quarter, sales continued to balloon, but earnings took a dip. Funko earnings dropped 35% to 26 cents per share. Revenue grew 34% to $315.7 million over the year, driven by 114% growth in the Loungefly brand sales. Despite slip earnings topped Wall Street's expectations for 23 cents per share, down from 40 cents last year. Revenue was predicted to be $293 million for the quarter, up from $236 million a year ago. We are thrilled to report record second quarter net sales to cap off the strongest first half net sales in Funko's history. All of our reported brand categories grew double digits, indicating a robust demand across the brand portfolio, said CEO Andrew Permuter. FNKO jumped $26.95 per share on release of earnings report before settling at close at $26.69. However, in after-hours trading, the stock price fell 10% to $23.93 per share due to profit taking. At San Diego Comic-Con on July 24th, Funko announced it's breaking into the video game market. Funko is collaborating with developer 1010 Games on AAA action platform to see a launch on consoles and PCs next year. The AAA classification means the game will be distributed by mid-size or major publishers, and action platforms are games like Super Mario, where the goal is to navigate to different points and avoid obstacles. Creating iconic products that emotionally connect fans to their favorite fandoms is critical in each production portfolio decision, Permuter said. Partnering with 1010 Games provides the talent to deliver games that reflect Funko's unique look and feel across its lines of varied products, he added. 1010 Games was founded last year by video game veteran and five-time British Academy of Film and Television Arts Award winner John Burton. Burton launched the development studio Traveller's Tales in 1989. He's also worked with Disney Interactive Studios and Sega on a number of games, including the acclaimed LEGO Star Wars and Sonic series. Funko's results have come after toy industry competitors Hasbro, HAS, and Mattel, MAT, reported earnings at the end of July. Hasbro also beat earnings estimates thanks to profit growth in its Magic: The Gathering card game. And Barbie and Hot Wheel makers Mattel reported its earnings soared an incredible 500% for the quarter. My family is a huge LEGO game, so we know these names well. U.S. manufacturing in July declined slowly as business deal with excessive inventory. U.S. manufacturing inventory in July slowed for the second month, albeit less than had been expected, amid news that the supply constraints were easing, according to a report by the Institute for Supply Management, IMS, released on August 1st. The post-pandemic glut in inventories and growing trade deficit caused by global supply chains are key culprits through overall economic momentum has slowed down after the economy contracted a 1.3% in the first half of the year. The ISM's index dropped by 0.2% to 52.8% in the lowest rating since June 2020 from a reading of 53.0% in June, above the earlier forecast of 52%. Manufacturing accounts for 11.9% of the U.S. economy, and any reading above 50 indicates expansion in that sector. The report also showed that the operational costs for manufacturers fell to a 2-year low, with some experts claiming that the economy may have hit peak inflation. The global supply chain crisis appears to be easing for now, and deliveries of supplies have improved. Prices have begun to flatten, and as inventories have grown at a faster pace compared with the 2 months ago. The ISM's measure of supplier deliveries has dropped to 55.2 from 57.3 in June. Consumer demand continued to weaken in July as new orders slumped to a reading of 48%, down from 49.2% in June, leading the production index to take a hit due to shrinking demands, declining by 1.4% to 53.5% from 54.9% in June. Whew! Meanwhile, new orders index registered at 48%, 1.2 percentage points lower than the 49.2% record in June. The cool down in demand is reflecting both a shift in consumer spending from goods to services and the impact of the rising interest rates. Manufacturers are concerned that these factors, combined with the steady reduction of order backlogs, the sector may continue to slow down through the remaining months of 2022. Businesses also are still delaying with an overload of inventory after previously ordering too many items during the pandemic in the second half of last year, hurting contracts for new orders. There are signs of new order rates softening as pain lists are increasingly concerned about excessive inventories and continuing record high lead times, said Timothy Foy, chairman of ISM Manufacturing Business Survey Committee. Employment activity remains strongly positive in spite of the uncertainty with the new order rates. Although the survey reported that employment in manufacturing had risen to 49.9%, the figures are in their third straight month of contraction. Companies continue to hire at relatively high rates for now, and there have been a few signs of widespread layoffs outside of the real estate and tech sector. Firearm companies say packages shipped with UPS are being damaged. Disappearing a number of firearm companies have their shipments with UPS become damaged or go missing while en route to customers, while others have alleged that their corporate accounts canceled by the parcel services, according to a report by Bearing Arms, a pro-Second Amendment news site. Patrick Collins, CEO of the Gun, Food, and Ammunition Supply Company, told the news outlets that many packages his business had shipped via UPS had mysteriously vanished in transit. Specifically, Collins alleged that out of 18,000 rounds of ammunition that he shipped, only around a third, roughly 6,000, were actually delivered. Collins said he was allegedly told by UPS that he was likely not packaging the shipments properly, and the company also noted to an uptick in recent claims regarding packages that are not being successfully delivered. They are not even making it. And I don't know what they are doing in their facilities if they are purposefully damaging them, Collins said. However, they are not making it to the customer. Collins added that every batch that his company ships are insured and typically needs to be signed by the customer. So it's funny when they try to say, well, you put in too many claims, and it's like, well, no, I didn't put in too many claims. Well, our customers never received their packages that we had shipped, Collins said. The Epoch Times did not receive a response from Collins when contacted for comment. The UPS spokesperson told the Epoch Times, as a common carrier, UPS transports ammunition that constitutes cartridges, small arms, as defined in federal regulations. UPS has safety protocols to help ensure the safe transport of the ammunition at our network. We work with our consumers to address their concerns, including those with packaging, the spokesperson added, while pointing to the information on UPS's website, How to Ship Ammunition, which includes packaging requirements. UPS has updated its requirements for firearm shipments to adhere to nationwide regulations recently issued by the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives that go into effect on August 24, 2022, and to address existing laws in a number of states, the spokesperson continued. UPS's policy now clarifies that the company does not accept any firearms, frames or receivers, or partially complete, disassembled, or non-functional frames or receivers, as defined by the new federal regulation, unless those items have been identified and given a serial number in compliance with federal requirements. Bearing Arms also pointed to a recent report at a large number of firearm companies have claimed to have had their UPS accounts canceled by the company, and that packages that were currently in the UPS system were potentially being seized and destroyed. In a letter sent to one Florida gun dealer, Ghost Firearms, UPS allegedly said they were terminating the account because, quote, they may be violating, quote, laws concerning homemade firearms parts or ghost guns. The owner of Ghost Firearms, Joe Zatar, told the Second Amendment Foundation that UPS allegedly informed him in a letter that all the scheduled pickups would be canceled and that he would not be allowed to reopen another UPS account or ship anything from a UPS store or website. Zatar claimed that prior to receiving the letter, he had recently shipped out more than $30,000 worth of products, and the company warned him that any packages that were found in the UPS system determined to have been tendered by his company may be seized and destroyed. "We do not ship to states where they're not allowed," Zatar told the outlet. "We are in total compliance. We had ATF here in just 2 weeks ago, and they told us we were completely legal." The UPS spokesperson told the Epoch Times that the company has taken steps to address specific compliance risks with a limited number of customers that it intends to deliver firearms and are legally in transit. And I do apologize, we had a picture of USPS up and not UPS, so I do apologize for that. All right, and finally, Biden still has a COVID cough 2 weeks after his initial diagnosis. President Joe Biden is still showing mild COVID-19 symptoms and again tested positive for the virus on Thursday morning, according to his doctor. The president is now in his 5th day of self-isolation following a second diagnosis of the virus, said White House physician Dr. Kevin O'Connor in a memo released Thursday by the White House. The president feels very well today. He's still experiencing a very occasional cough, but the cough is improving. His temperature, pulse, blood pressure, respiratory rate, and oxygen saturation remain entirely normal, and his lungs remain clear, O'Connor wrote Thursday. This morning, his SARS-CoV-2 antigen testing remained positive, he added. Biden is expected to isolate at the White House until his testing is negative. Biden initially contracted the virus on July 21st before testing negative for COVID-19 days later and emerged from isolation last week. However, on Saturday, Biden tested positive in what has been described as a Paxlovid-induced rebound case, O'Connor said. White House Chief COVID-19 Advisor Ashish Shah has insisted COVID-19 rebound linked to Paxlovid is a rare occurrence, but some scientists have questioned the clinical studies presented by Pfizer showing that it only has a 1 or 2% incidence of happening. The COVID-19 diagnosis has complicated Biden's travel schedule, forcing him to scrap a trip to Michigan on Tuesday. He will also convene in an interagency task force on Wednesday afternoon and sign an executive order relating to abortions, coming after his Department of Justice filed a lawsuit against Idaho over its restricting most abortions following the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade in June. Biden has received a total of 4 COVID-19 vaccines. He took 2 doses of the Pfizer-BioNTech mRNA vaccine before his inauguration in January 2021, received his first booster in September, and got his second booster in March of this year. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, sent out a health alert to doctors on May 24th, advising that COVID-19 symptoms or COVID rebound can return while patient is taking Paxlovid. The agency says that most rebound cases involve mild symptoms. A brief return of symptoms may be part of the natural history of SARS-CoV-2 infection in some persons, independent of treatment with Paxlovid and regardless of their vaccine status, the Federal Health Agency said in May 2022. If you take Paxlovid, you might get symptoms again. CDC Director Rochelle Walensky told CBS News several days after the alert was sent out. We haven't yet seen anybody who's returned with symptoms needing to go into the hospital, so a generally milder course. The CDC recommends that people who might be experiencing COVID-19 rebound follow the usual 5-day isolation guidelines. You are watching Texas Fully Loaded, and we will return right after these quick commercial breaks. Alrighty. Well, a huge, huge thank you to our amazing sponsors, the Montgomery County Tea Party. They are turning 10 this next Monday, the 15th. So if you are going to be in the Montgomery County, Texas area, Please make sure you're a part of the festivities at Citizens Grill. I believe it starts at 6 or 6:30. It's going to be more fun than conservatives know what to do with, so you're going to want to be there. Don't miss it. Also, huge thank you to Skyland Companies. We couldn't do this without you guys, and a super duper huge thank you to TECNTV.com for hosting our show. And I couldn't be here at all without our amazing viewers. So thank you so much for being a part of the fastest growing show on TECN TV's network. We are in a little bit of a friendly competition between Pastor Greg's show, The Chosen Generation, but he's another Texan show. It's us Texans are fighting it out. We're duking it out the best way we know how to, and that's making sure that you guys are equipped with the best information that is in Texas so that you can share it around your community as well. Like I always tell you every week, if you are watching Texas Fully Loaded and you're not officially a Texan, you are still a little bit of a Texan when you're on our show. So thank you so much. I am super excited. As I told you guys at the top of the hour, we kind of had a little bit of a switcheroo. Joe Flynn was unfortunately unable to be with us today, but I do have, I think a pretty decent stand-in, and he doesn't know this yet, but I'm going to show him at the same time I'm showing you guys. Actually, I'm pulling it up right now. Y'all are going to scream. So I've actually met our next guest before, and it was a lot of fun. It was actually at, I'm going to actually make that a little bit bigger if I can. It was at the Reawakening tour. It was the very first tour that they did. It was in Tulsa, Oklahoma in April. Well, hold on. I think I'm messing it all up here. It was in April of 2021. It was with oh my gosh, my brain just went blank. But anyway, it was a great experience in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It was actually my birthday weekend, so we had a lot of fun. My team went up there with me. Chesley and Walter were both there. Y'all don't know Chesley yet, but you'll get to know him soon. But anyway, without further ado, the amazing Patrick Byrne. Well, I said that, and then I couldn't get it over there. There we go. Hi, how are you?
Well, so good to see you again, and I do remember you cute thing from Tulsa. I do remember you coming, our talk. So
yeah,
nice to see you on the show again.
Thank you so much. It was a lot of fun. We actually had seats on the stage originally, and then I got to actually speak with you for quite a while back in the green room, kind of in the media row area. So it was a lot of fun. It was a great experience. It seems like you're doing pretty well for yourself since then. So tell me what's the latest and greatest. It doesn't look like you've just been kicking cans along the street.
Well, we feel that what we've been doing is Civics 101, and it's about, what happened 18 months ago is I think the death knell of the United States if it does not get fixed, in the sense of we have to have election integrity. So Mike Flynn and I started the American Project. We've built this. It's all about 70% of what we do is election integrity. I think we made some big inroads this year, and based on some primaries that just happened, I think we are getting to the point that we can say we're cleaning up sort of 30 or 40% of the grift. We're also big on medical tyranny and on border security. Those are our three issues: election integrity, stopping medical tyranny through the pandemic, and border security. So that's where we are, and I think that I like to think that maybe we bought America time. I think of this like a bar fight, that somebody came up and hit us in the head with a bottle, and instead of getting knocked out, maybe we bought us enough time for America to get off the ground and get back in the game. But they're back in the game now. If you look at like what just happened in Arizona, you know what I'm talking about, Sandra.
No, absolutely. I mean, and even we have a dear friend that was in a state house race there in Arizona, and she was like, the level of insanity was just, she said, I've got two sons. One of them, she's actually Angel Mom, Marianne Mendoza. Her son was killed by an illegal 8 years ago, and his mail-in voter packet was sent to her house for this election cycle. And another one of her sons is living in another state now, I believe, in the military, and his also was there. So there was no real good cleanup in Arizona at all. And she said it was really just a true circus there in Arizona for this election cycle still yet again. But it looks like Kari Lake is going to pulled it through. And so we're excited at least about that. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit. I know that you've got...
Mark Fincham and Steve Montenegro in the state house, and a guy named Abe Hamadeh for Attorney General, Republican candidate now, who is serious about election integrity. I think he's going to wrap up. He's going to get in and roll them all up. He may roll up the previous attorney general just for not prosecuting when he should have.
Well,
And so
that's exactly it. I think that that's where a lot of the downfall was in the 2020 election. Now we're getting into one of our favorite conversations here. One of the biggest downfall problems. Hey, look, there's Roger Stone. That was unexpected. Hi, welcome to the show.
Glad to be with you.
How are you?
I'm doing great. But
Well,
I mean,
fantastic.
if you have the great Patrick Byrne, you don't need me.
Well, you know what? I have to tell you, Roger Stone, a dear Walter West, he's my co-host, he's my partner in crime. He is a huge fan of yours. He actually, you guys have texted back and forth. He's been on several calls with you and stuff. So, what a huge honor! And now we have the competing the competing thing here, and I don't know how to fix that, but we're gonna have fun with this anyway because I love Fly by the Seat of Your Pants. That's literally my favorite. So this is an all-star show today. That's what's actually happening here. So Roger Stone, Patrick and I were just talking about the 2020 election fraud that happened. I know it's something that you've been passionate about as well. We were actually talking about Arizona and the new attorney general, the person who just won in the runoffs there in Arizona and he's looking at trying to go back and clean up house from where stuff was not prosecuted in Arizona in 2020. And then you showed up. So hi. Oh, well. Well, now we have conflicting stuff here. Now Roger's frozen. Well, we're going to keep it fresh here on Texas Fully Loaded because that's what we do. So let's see what happens next. But if I have both of them or either of them still here, I think you just have to click on the link and whoever wins is the champion. I can actually even let me have a 30-second commercial break. Oh, I say 30 seconds. You guys know how this goes. Give me just a second. Let me send us back to a commercial really quick, and let's see if the real Slim Shady will be standing with our guest today. I'll be right back, guys. Okay, it looks like we're back with Roger Stone.
Sorry about that.
No, it is all good. I actually was just like, okay, let's play the shell game really quick and we'll see who we end up with. I love it.
Happy to be here.
Well, much like I said to Patrick, I haven't met you, but Walter has met you. Y'all been on the phone multiple times. Walter West, he's my co-host, and the Texas Bacon Master is how he's affectionately known down here. But you look like there was a big scuffle with you and having a raid a few years ago, and it looks like you're not kicking cans down the side of the road. It looks like you're doing a lot of America First work. You truly have you're doing what we call here on Texas Fully Loaded, we the people work. And tell me what's next for you guys. I know that you're part of this Border 911 event that's coming up in Houston at the end of the month. So tell me a little bit about that.
I just got a text from Walter, by the way. He's thrilled. So,
I'm sure he's fangirling right now.
Look, first of all, I'm very, very pleased to be involved in the works of the America Project. They are involved in. There's no D in Roger, however. We need to fix that on your.
Yes, sir. I'll fix it right now.
I'm not an egomaniac or anything. In any event. I'm very pleased to be involved in the America Project with my friends Patrick Byrne, General Michael Flynn, and of course Joe Flynn. They're doing very important work in terms of election integrity in the 6 or 7 swing states, and also now beginning to bring more public attention to the catastrophe at our southern border. So I am deeply involved with the America Project and proud of it. Then, additionally, I'm doing a daily show, which you can see at frankspeech.com every day at 4 o'clock Central, 5 o'clock Eastern. Scroll down to Lindell TV 2, where you can see the Stone Zone, and where I talk politics, style, fashion, culture, take your questions. A lot of that seems to be very popular. I'll answer questions on virtually every topic. And of course, then yesterday, I was trending again on Twitter, which is about the 12th time I believe I have trended on Twitter, which isn't bad for a guy who got kicked off Twitter and banned for life in 2017.
Ah, you are back.
We're
I
playing musical guests over here.
sorry, I came back. I didn't see anybody. I was out.
So we just had Roger Stone on.
Well, that's a big improvement. That was a big improvement. I'm
We can,
proud of it.
all right, so you and I were talking about Arizona.
Here we
Roger
were.
and I were just talking about fashion in his new show on Mike Lindell's new channel. Lindell 2, I think is what it is.
Oh, really? I don't know
So
much news, but he's the guy to talk about fashion.
he
He's always the
is.
best.
Every time I see him, I always say, you know what? That's how Walter's going to. We had ran for Congress, if you remember, or I had ran for Congress. Walter's my campaign manager, and I said, look, when we make it to DC, you're dressing like Roger Stone. So I'm glad to know that he's giving fashion advice now. So anyway, so we were talking about Arizona's elections, and then you guys have this Border 911 event coming up in Houston, and I
Yep.
think that there's going to be a lot of excitement that's building for that. Now, as a border resident since 2009, I do have to say I'm a little. We need to bring these events and the attention to the border, though, not just to the people in Houston. I was at an event in Houston just about a month and a half ago that Dan Crenshaw had put on. It was a border summit. There was probably about 200 to 300 people that were there. And the problem, though, it was good. I loved the platform. I love the way he did the event. But the problem is that he was actually using data, I believe, from 2018, and because that was the last time he had been to the border. So I go to Houston often. I love it up there. But the problem is that the problem is here, and we need that fanfare to kind of come down here to the border. I know a great place in Laredo if you guys are looking for the next Border 911 to be down
You're
here.
kidding me. Well, is it a place that won't cancel us? Because we'll just have to worry about a lot of places cancel us, as we do these things. Are they?
I have fought our city council and won multiple times. They've tried to call us they tried to equate an event that we did back in 2021 to January 6th. And I actually went before city council and slapped the council member down, and actually the mayor stood up for the Republicans that came down and the Patriots and said actually it was really great. It was very well attended, and everyone there actually really loved Laredo. So y'all just let me know. I'll make some things happen. I know some people.
I was in Laredo back about 1986 was the last time I've been in Laredo, Texas.
Well, it has changed a little bit. We have a couple more really amazing restaurants, some excellent hotels, and some shopping centers. And we're back with the Rogers.
This is like a Marx Brothers comedy, is what this is like.
This is, if you know me, the irony of this happening is just unreal. So
You ever saw the Marx Brothers movie Room Service? That's exactly what this is like.
yes, it's I love the old slapstick comedy, and that's exactly what we're getting right here on on Texas Fully Loaded. All right, so I was actually just telling Patrick before when he flopped back in here that we were talking about your amazing fashion style and how I love that you're sharing it on your new on your new channel and on your new show. So, Okay, I'm gonna leave this here for just another second. We're gonna all be surprised as what happens next. This is, you know what, best laid plans of mice and men never account for what's going to happen in real life. So this is kind of it's fun. You know, the best part about working with Patriots is that everyone is always expected for the least expected, and that's exactly what we're getting here today on Texas Fully Loaded. But who two better guys than to have just randomly pop on your show back and forth like an awesome sitcom? Well, we I don't know what's going to happen next. We'll all be surprised together. So we're going we're going to wait and see what happens in the wings. You know, we're almost out of time for this week anyway, so I guess we'll go ahead and do it there. But you know, the cool thing about Patriots is that regardless of one of the things that we have to work forward and work towards together as Patriots, as people who truly love America, don't focus on the R, don't focus on the D, focus on people's hearts, focus on what their goal is, what their mission is. We can't just be all talk, we have to be we the people work. And I truly believe that there are a lot of Patriots, whether you agree with them personally or not, that want to do the right thing. My girlfriend Jen Lowe, she has just been a huge Patriot and has been fighting so hard for things here in Texas and across the nation with some of the people and organizations that she's worked with and brought together. I know she's very well respected by both of these men who've been on here today, including Joe Flynn. And so, you know, it's important that we want to do the right thing for our country. We're drowning here in America, believe it or not. And if we can't continue to just stick with the status quo, we've got to do more. We've got to be better. We can't just use these opportunities to come and hear great speakers. We got to take them and we got to do the next thing, which is we got to put this information that we're getting into action. We are all about we the people here, we the people work here on Texas Fully Loaded, and I know deep down in our heart of hearts that that's exactly who the people with the America Project are as well. They want to see our country succeed, because if we lose America, there's no more beacon of hope left for anybody else in the world. We've got to focus here in America. We've got to focus especially here in Texas. Texas is the last frontier in the United States. So goes Texas, so goes the nation. Something that our dear friend Alan West kind of coined a few years ago, and it's not there. No truer words have ever been spoken. Texas is the final frontier for the American dream and for the American way, and we've got to fight together. I encourage you, whether you're in Texas or whether you're in one of the other states here in the United States, get involved. All politics is local, according to our friend John Bouche, and it's not just him. There's many people who completely agree. Because what happens in your every single day, your day-to-day, that is affected at your local level. You can only make changes on the big level if you're willing to dig down deep and have a strong-rooted group. One of the things that we've been talking in the last several weeks is about Montgomery County, about what's happening with their party, what's happening with the Tea Party movement, the Patriots who are rallying around. And it's important that you have a good, strong structure. But a structure is nothing if you don't have the workers, if you don't have the people. It's time for us as American citizens to quit being sick and tired of being sick and tired, and be so sick and tired that now you're willing to stand up and take the shovel, even if you're the only person digging dirt. You've got to get involved. You can no longer sit on the sidelines, because our country is the only country that is worth saving right this second. So while it's important that we have other things that are going around in other countries, and we have to pay attention to them, if we're not taking care of home first, how in the world are we going to save the rest of the world? So with that being said, you guys have a great rest of your week. I will see you Monday at noon Eastern Time here on TECNTV.com. Don't forget to go to TexasFullyLoaded.com. Please consider sponsoring or supporting our show. You can do it privately, you can do it publicly, whatever is comfortable with you. Please just let me know, and I would love to have a conversation with you. Also, a huge thank you to TECNTV.com. Make sure you're checking out the other amazing programs on this network. I love you guys. I'll see you around. God bless you. Have a great weekend. Bye, y'all.